Okay, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to our webinar on data preparation with Talend, or as I've called it here, how we can liberate your data with Talend Data Preparation. With me today in the room, helping us with the seminar, is Tanya, who looks after our marketing, and Garrett and Mark from our sales team. So my name is Kieran Clark, I'm our General Manager, so I'll be taking you through this presentation and demonstration. First thing to say is that hopefully we're going to record this session, and we're going to record this session, so it will be available on our website. I'm just checking that we are recording it. So we are, and also if you have questions during the session, there is a panel inside the GoToWebinar on the top right hand corner where you can write the questions, and then the guys will collate them and we'll take them at the end of the session. Okay, so I think we're just about ready to go, so we'll get going. So today we're going to talk about Talend and the data preparation. And Talend have come to the conclusion, after working with the world's most data-driven companies, that they have a strong viewpoint about business success, and I think we follow this viewpoint here in Ireland. And that the winners or losers of IT will depend upon which IT executives can put more of the right data to work for the business faster. So success won't come from investing more IT budget in old data architecture, or by putting, like, to use the old phrase, lipstick on a pig. You know, success will become by re-engineering, by coming up with better ways, not throwing good money after bad. So the transformational promise of data remains elusive, and these facts from HBR are that 40% of data has integrity issues. 80% of an analyst's time is wasted preparing data, and 55% of a company's data is not accessible. So these are big challenges, and as we see the drive for big data, the drive to use analytics more, if you have these problems and you're increasing the amount of data, well, you're only increasing the amount of problems. So the current data architecture just can't keep up with the speed. The things have to change, and we're seeing this where data economics are broken. So with the advent of cloud, machine learning, things like IoT, sensors, the Internet of Things, we're seeing a massive growth in data. But we're also seeing a drive to this more need for self-service users. So people want to be able to do their own analysis, want to be able to do their own reporting. But IT capabilities are just not keeping up with this growth in data and this growth in demand from self-service users. So we need to bridge this gap. So what we're actually seeing is we're losing the battle between the legacy trap. The legacy is eating up more and more of spend, where IT spend is being spent on maintaining legacy technology, and less, and only 15%, on innovation. So again, you're just feeding this beast. You're stuck in the trap while not actually achieving anything extra. You're just investing a huge amount of time just to stand still, and a huge amount of money. So there is this business IT divide. So it takes too long to put data to work for the business. So on the IT side, you have the team, but they have different tools, different processes, and no common language between the business team, which is actually bigger than the IT team. And these strategies need to intensify. So we do need, as an organization, to put more data to work for the business at today's budget. We need to be able to take the data infrastructure and take advantage of new technology innovations, such as machine learning and artificial intelligence. But as the growth of data goes across the organization, we need to make sure we can guarantee the integrity of the data across these complex environments such as clouds and hybrid. And we also want to keep the governance in place while escalating the demand for analytics and self-service. So you don't really want to give out all this information if it means people can abuse the data or do the wrong things with it, or you end up with data breaches such as we see with IPR and with all these breaches at Facebook and Firefox and all these kind of guys. So the existing choices that you have are limited. You can try and port the legacy model, and again we use this term, the intelligent lipstick. We have taken the proprietary heavy IT burden, but it's too slow for the new dynamic multi-cloud era. You can build limited point-to-point integration with point tools to add complexity to your solutions, but this doesn't solve long-term issues. Or you can do DIY hand coding, which is very expensive, and in Ireland today, we have an extreme shortage of developers, so it's just not possible or feasible. So what is needed is a force multiplier. We need a change, and we need to put more data to work with the same IT budget. And how do we do that? By moving to a modern data architecture where we can liberate our data from the underlying infrastructure. So the strategic imperative is a shift to a modern data architecture. So to get away from the status quo of silos of information, self-service as shadow where an IT person is really overlooking the analyst, where the business IT divide and there's an unsustainable budget. To a liberated architecture where you have a modern data architecture which can support the best of the cloud while also continuing to use on-premise where it needs to be, to ensure that data works for the business, is done with a governance self-service approach that ensures integrity and in essence makes data a team sport, where the IT and the business can work together and work on an optimized budget to deliver real value. So why Talend? What does Talend bring? Talend enables us to disrupt data economics, so there's no data tax. So as we grow the system, there's no data tax, so you don't actually have extra charges in your application. You're breaking the legacy cycle so that you don't have portable code, and it's open, and that we can deliver data you can trust and built-in quality and governance. Also means that you can make data a team sport, and that way we can liberate our data and deliver a force multiplier that can put 100% more data to work. So we're talking about moving away from liberating from infrastructure forever, liberating the IT from legacy technology, liberate developers from hand coding, and get away from ungoverned data and hours, and liberate the business and IOs. So you have this unsustainable data economics. So but in this we want to balance the governance seesaw. We want to ensure that we get the right mix between governance and control and accessibility. We want to ensure the right people can get the right data in the right way. So there's not putting too much governance in place to prevent data getting out, but you're not leaving it too open that you end up having data breaches or data issues. So some of Talend's customers are already approaching this challenge. So for argument's sake, Lenovo have re-platformed their systems over the years and actually grown massively their data usage. But now they've moved from starting with an Access database out to Spark and Hadoop and Amazon Redshift by growing their data sizes up to the terabytes and petabytes, but at the same time re-platforming to move to ensure the number of users who are able to use this data grows so that they can do things like predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics. So in the case of Lenovo, they analyze customer information and market trends through website analysis to figure out how best to optimize their manufacturing, to figure out what is going to be the new trend in a computer or a PC or a laptop before the rest of the market actually catches up. So, and they've done this and have improved our sales and operations massively by this change in how they use data, making it available to everybody to make better decisions. Johnson Controls, we actually have a building in Cork, which is one of the smart buildings, have built a global data lake to have a unified view of its customers, and the consumers of data are all within the domain. So again, a global organization with 5 million in savings and licensing by bringing everything together and enable everybody to use the data. Travis Perkins in the UK used Talend Data Fabric to better know their customers and help them find building materials faster than ever. They increased their web traffic by 60% and their sales. Now, Travis Perkins are one of the biggest building supplier in the UK, with one of the biggest fleets in the UK, so a massive company, and they were able to grow their sales by 30%. Like, that's huge savings. And how they did that again was analysing trends, understanding the customer data, and providing the analytics to the people who needed to use them. And the final little story, which was really interesting, was the Panama Papers, which uncovered all these issues with politicians and what they were doing. Again, Talend was used here to actually analyze that data and find the patterns across the information, but giving the information to the analysts, letting the analysts work and use their information. So, enabling for success. As I said, we want to get the balance right. So, we want to understand and unite data sources, foster data quality as a business as usual discipline, ensure compliance, and enable governed self-service access. So we're not saying that self-service is it can just be set up by just opening up data and allowing anybody to use it. It has to be done in a governed way. It has to be done so that every user, whether it's a data scientist, a data engineer, business user, can access the information from a variety of sources through a governed front end. And that's what Talend brings to the market. So it's about providing self-service access, where you've got all this data in all various forms, being able to bring it, group it together so that it's meaningful, and then serve it up to each department in how they need to access the data from anyone. And that's what Talend Data Preparation and Talend Studio brings us as a solution. So then you get to the stage where data is a team sport. So that it is run by the business, operationalized by IT, and managed by Talend Technology. So that your data engineer, your steward, analyst, scientist, and business user all can get the data to integrate it, curate it, enrich it, and consume. And this is the big driver as we go over the next 2 years, is the need for self-service. So that all these people can get the right data at the right time when they need it. And that way, we're cutting down the time to market and the cost for dev operations, so that we end up with a collaborative data management and faster. And one of the examples I want to show you today of this is self-service for the data citizens with Talend. So Talend Data Preparation allows data collaboration tools that business, data analysts, and IT will love, so that you can get, with Talend Data Preparation, clean, useful data in minutes, not hours. And with Talend self-service curation, you can actually fix, merge, and certify data, again, providing the ability for the business to fix data in a governed manner. And that's done through Talend Data Stewardship app, and then data preparation for cleaning the data. So data preparation provides self-service data access and cleansing through an enterprise scale through Talend Data Fabric. It allows you to collaborate and share across teams. IT governs data usage with role-based security, and turns ad hoc data prep into fully managed data integration process, ready for big data. So in the little demonstration I'm going to show you now, you're going to see where a data analyst using Power BI with these unprepared data, he then creates his reports that don't deliver the correct answers. So what we previously would require the data analyst to send the data extract back to IT to change the extraction process, with Talend Data Preparation, we can enable the business to prepare data and create a repeatable process. And then the analyst can then run accurate reports without having to wait on the IT group. So I'll just step out of my presentation, and I'll jump into Power BI. So I have some data here. This is a very simple dashboard we created in Power BI. And you can see, again, showing my background. I have a little map here which is showing marketing information. And as you can see, somebody's in Ireland, but there is some records in the States. So that's an issue. So why is that happening? Why is that the case? And also, I know all the data should be in Ireland. And also, you can see in this chart that the campaign information is very skewed. There's lots of unusual information. And here on the type of lead score, we got 999 scores and 365, and all these kind of things. So we got some weird data that we want to actually solve. And if I scroll down the bottom here, we have some weird information here as well. So we have our charts, which is connecting to this data, but actually it's throwing off some funnies because the data hasn't been prepared properly and it was done on an extract. And if I actually just open up the spreadsheet that I'm reading with this data, you can see the kind of information. So you can see some of the problems that come out, which is of a standard kind of extract that someone might use for marketing or whatever. So we can see here there's some email addresses that have mistakes in them. We've got the usual issues with dates and times of different formats. And I can see here with the KY, this is the reason why we're getting maps that aren't in Ireland. So because it's spelled, someone typed in KY instead of Kerry. So a lot of data here, but how do I tidy this up? Do I go into Excel and fix it manually? Do I ask the IT group? to rerun the extract and make changes to the integration process to clean up this data. How long will that take? Will they even be able to do it? But with Talend Data Preparation, the analysts can actually handle these issues themselves. So I can go in here to Talend Data Preparation, and I can say I'm going to create a preparation. So I add preparation, and add the data set, add preparation, and I will import a file, and I'll take my campaign data, and I call it Marketing Campaigns Ireland. And of course, I've done a demo before. Right, and I will confirm, and now I can see my data. So what you can see is the same kind of view as we saw with the spreadsheet view, but straight away in Talend Data Preparation, I have at the top here some color coding on my columns. So on the integer one here, it says green means good values. Talend Data Preparation has automatically done analysis of the semantic of the data and said, oh, this is an integer. This column here is a first name type. This column here is last name. These are emails because there's things in them. And then you've got your dates, and we've got our other formats, and we've got our lead score here. So it automatically does that. And I can actually, if I wanted to, I could say, no, that column's not an integer, it's a text field. I know it's a text field, or it's a decimal, but actually it is an integer, I know that. So I can actually change these things. And what Talend Data Preparation does is it takes the sample set of the records, so it's 1,000 records, and puts them here. But what I'm going to now do is build the self-service rules to clean up this data. And then, of course, once I build those rules, I can save them off. And then the next time we're doing our reporting run, we can run them again. And that is the big benefit in Talend Data Preparation. So the first thing I want to do is look at this ID column, and I can see the integer is missing, and there's an orange here, and it says there's 3 invalid rows with ID for ID. So I click on them, and you can see there's some @ signs, there's some letters in here. So I can do a number of things. What I can say is, well, I can take the view that any data that's come in without a valid integer, well, then I'm not actually going to use them. Or I could say, well, you know something, in the case of these, I'm happy to apply a value. So I can just type in here, I can apply this value to all cells. So I can say, I'm going to give it a value of 1, apply to all cells, hit enter. And now that's the first step in my rep. So it's changed it to 1. And I could do the same here and put it to 2. And give it a value and 3. And then all these dodgy values are now fine. So they are done for my report. Okay, so then it's now cleaned up. So anything that comes in with those values, I can give them a proper value. And you can see here on the left, the system is now building up my little recipe of what I'm doing to the data. So I can now hide it because I don't need to see it as I'm going, and take off my first filter. And now I can see my integer has now all gone green. So I've tidied up that data type. The next one I want to look at is the first name. And you can see in first name, there are some little issues there. So I have some trailing spaces. I can see here that there's some data that that's got light spaces. So I can see trail. And I can say remove trailing and leading characters. And I can take out the white space and hit submit. And straight away now, I've taken my first name table and made sure there's no blank spaces in it. But also, if I look down here, I can see I've got Gerald, so they've put that in caps. So maybe I'm going to use this for a mail shot. So I want to make sure that the report uses the first name properly. So I'm going to change this column now to be title case, and change the title case, and now make sure everything in the report is now title case. So again, just tidying up data, make sure it's right. Now, I've also got some white spaces here, so if I click on them, it tells me I've got 20 records that have no value. Now, in the case of a first name, not having a value in a marketing report tells me that we don't know who this is, and I'm not going to use their information. So I can actually say, right, any blanks, I'm going to delete. Now, just to be clear, I am not deleting the source data, I am deleting the recipe and what it exports out. So this is not to affect the source, but I'm saying if there's any values in this report that don't have a good first name, I'm not going to bring them across. And now you can see with my first name column, I'm all green, I'm all good to go. And again, I take off my filter and I continue to build my recipe. Now, if I go to my last name column here, again, I can see I've got some empty values here on the last name. But actually, in this case, the first name has got the second name in it. So this can happen in forms, so people might type in the full name and then not bother putting it into the next one. So actually, Talend can handle that. So I can go over to my first name column, and I can use the extract command to extract a string. Oh, sorry, there's this Talend control is just in the way. Sorry, not Talend, but WebEx control. So, away. Yeah, that's a little bit now. All right. So, sorry, there's a go to meeting control is just in the wrong way.
Should be able to drag it over to the side.
Not moving. Okay, I'll get to it. Okay, so I can scroll. Right. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to extract the string, and I'm going to take it based on multiple columns and parts. And I can submit. And now you can see I have split that into name 1, which is the first name, which I already have, and name part 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete the first name because I don't actually need that because I had it right in the first place. And now I've got the second name. So then what I'm actually going to do is use the fill function and fill it with the value, and scroll down here to the value from another column, and the other column is name part 2. Hit submit, and it runs off, and it's going to copy, all going well. Sorry, last name, so I ran on the wrong one. So I'm going to do a fill. Fill with value, and I want to use the column, and it's going to be name part 2. Sorry, name part 2. I'm struggling with screen space here because of the WebEx. And hit submit. Okay, so there we go, submit. And now you can see that we've lost our name part 2, so I can actually get rid of that. And our last name, if I come back here, is now get rid of the empty values. We've now got no empty values in last name. I don't need to show, delete the column name part 2. And I've now got my first name and last name are all correct. So I've actually got all the values because I've been able to extract the first name and the last name from the control. Okay, so next thing I want to look at from a data prep point of view is the email column. So we can see here on the emails, again, if I click on the orange, I can say, well, this is going to be a mail shot I'm going to run this on. So I'm not going to delete any rows with an invalid cell. So I can run a delete and it clears them up straight away. So I can actually get rid of any of the deletions. And again, you can still see my recipe is being built here. All my little steps are going along. And now I've got my email. Now, in this case, I'm going to show you a function that probably someone wouldn't use it because I'm doing it from a marketing point of view. But if I wanted to hide the details of that email so that people couldn't get it from a personal information point of view, I can do a mask data. And now we've taken away the personal information on their email address. So again, and it found one dodgy one there for some reason. And I'll have a look at that. So scroll that across. Take this one out, and again, delete the rows with the invalid data. If it's not got a proper email address, I don't want it. Okay. Now, the other one we then saw when we were looking at our little map was that we had these carries. So I'm going to take the carry, the KY, which is wrong, and I'm going to replace the cells that match. So I'm going to filter on these carries, and so I'm going to type in carry K, E R or Y, apply to all cells that value. So where KY is now going to go to carry. So again, that should tidy up that misprint and that typo. Final thing I'm going to do is we have our date control. So again, you can see all the different dates that are in here, and dates are always the classic 4 to 6 / whatever it is. I can also go in here and I can then run a format. And change date format. I don't know what the source is, but I'm going to move it to English time, or English standard even better, and hit OK and submit. So now my date time is tidied up and I've got a better date report. And then the final thing I want to look at is the lead scores. So if I click on this column, and again I've moved this go to meeting thing out of the way, down here we can see we have our little histograms and analytics on the data. So you can see I've got the chart which shows I've got some weird data here, so max 99, but I've also got this stuff that's below 0. So if I actually filter down, you can see I now have these minus values. Well, they're no good to me in a lead. A lead should be between 0 and 1,000, or 0 and 100, or 0 and 100 in this case. So I can say remove negative values and get rid of these. So I don't have any negative values. So if the lead is minus, or I could have added a value to that, or I could have changed the value. But what I'm doing is making sure the data that we're now reporting on is good quality data. So you can see in a few steps, with some very simple clicks, I've been able to say, tidy up this data. Now, just to be clear again, the source is unchanged. It's to build this recipe so that the data that I can now export can then be used in the analysis. And then the next time data comes through this process, the same recipe here can actually be reused. And you can see how you can move things around in the recipe, you can change them, whatever you want to do. But at the final step I'm going to do is I'm going to export this file out to CSV and hit export, and it'll now pop up and ask me where I want to put it. Yeah, and I'll get this neat thing out of it. And I go save as, and I'm going to put a D, and it's Talend Cloud Studio, demo data, and I'm going to replace the file I had there before. Yeah, and I replace it. So now I go back out to my Power BI, and I go in, and again, move this control out of it, I go in and I do a refresh. So I refresh. And straight away, we can see my little map, my chart, is now all in Ireland. My graphs and tables are all better. My histogram, my leads are all tidied up. And then next month, when I run it, I won't get data that's out there. I won't get first names or last names that are wrong. I'll get all the information and I'll see it in my Power BI. And I can reuse my recipe because if I go back to my Talend Data Preparation, I can save that off, give it a name, and it's there to use again. And of course, we can, as well as CSV, we can even export that through the tablet. And just to confirm on this, what you've seen me use from a Talend point of view is the freely available version, which you can download today and do everything you saw me do. Power BI, of course, there is a license for that, but it is free with Office 365, and that's the version I was using today. So really powerful tool, very, very easy to take the data, self-service, not have to get the IT involved. I understand what needs to be done to the data. I can prepare it, clean it up, and push it back. And then with the commercial offerings from Talend, my recipe can be taken and operationalized as part of the IT extraction process, so that the IT engineers don't even have to rework this code. They can actually lift it and put it into the extraction process and use this as part of the next data run, which is where you really get useful and you're providing this self-service capability. The final thing I just want to briefly talk about is data stewardship. And Talend Data Stewardship is the first self-service data quality tool. So it engages data quality for everyone, not just stewards. And like the data preparation, it's a point-and-click approach for curation and certification, so that you can orchestrate your data stewardship tasks as campaigns. What does that mean? It means that if, for argument's sake, you have asset data where you know the answer should be A, B, or C, but the only person who knows it is the asset manager in a depot somewhere outside the country. Well, you can give him access to the records he needs to see, to the data he needs to change, and then give him a simple, is it A, is it B, is it C, question and answer, and then he can do it. But all of that is audited, all tracked, and all through a governed approach. So it means that you can have these workflows and roles that are set up to assign and delegate tasks. It manages the human side of the data pipelines, and it keeps it in the integration process. And it then means that you can merge and match data, because again, we have all these data duplication issues that you want to get rid of, but it's all data errors, arbitrating data. So it's not just being able to do it on the full record. You know, you might have, for argument's sake, your asset management system and your GIS, and they've both got two views of what an asset is. So you might say for the asset type that it comes from the GIS is the golden record or the master, but that the currency or whatever, the manufacturer value is correct from the asset management system. So you can actually get down to attribute level, making decisions based on rules to define that survivorship. So then you can do mass updates. And then once this is done, it's all done as part of a integrated human interaction. So it's part of the integration flow line, so that you can then call data stewardship. So if there's data that can't be pushed into other systems, it can then be passed to a steward to delegate the matching and process. And again, as I mentioned already, it's all audited and tracked. So I think I'm sticking pretty much the time. With Talend, you can liberate your data and deliver a force multiplier. So you can liberate your data from infrastructure forever, liberate it from IT legacy technology, move away from hand coding, liberate data pros from ungoverned data and hours, and move to more self-service data. And also then make sure that your CIOs are moved from unsustainable data economics. And I think now we've got time for a few minutes of questions, so I'll ask the guys, have any questions come in?
Yep, there's one there on someone wondering about the cost model.
Okay, so what I showed today, that's a good question. The Talend Data Prep that I showed today, that's the free version. So you can download that from the Talend website anytime you need. and you can use that. Then if you need to use it in a more that means you can export data from files, Excel, CSV, and when you run the data preparation, it takes the data in from there and exports it out. If you want to work directly off databases and push the data back into your integration, then you have to kind of move to Talend Data Studio, which actually comes with a couple of seats of data preparation, and that kind of starts around there's an annual fee for that every year, and if you come to us, we can give exact numbers, but it is very much cost effective compared to other players in the market. But yeah, the Talend Data Preparation usually comes with Talend Studio, but everything I showed you today was freely available that you could actually use.
Another question has just come in there. Where would you see this sitting in local government?
I suppose that's a good question. I've done a lot of work with the LAs local government over the years. A big issue in local government is, where is data captured from? And it's usually captured for a purpose. So for years, I would have worked on projects where guys would say, yeah, we understand this customer record, but that data was captured for the purposes of the election register, so we can't use that data in other sources. And this then leads to everybody's data ends up in silos, and the kind of standard answer is, we don't want to break data protection, we don't want to break the rights of how the data was collected, so we lock everything down. With data prep and with Talend Data Studio, you can define the rules for who can access information how, and that means then the data that needs to be protected can be protected and kept to department levels, and the data that doesn't need to be can be shared can then be shared across agencies. So it actually could be really, really useful for agencies like local authorities, like government agencies, who need to secure their data for one, increased sharing and data analytics.
I think that's it for questions. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the session. As I said, Garrett and Mark are here. They'd love to hear from you if you would like to work on the trial version of data preparation, or if you need any hand getting it set up or using it, or if you'd like to look at more with Talend Data Stewardship and Talend Data Studio, please let us know. I think, Tanya, we're running a FME and Word webinar next.
FME and Word on the 20th of September at 2 p.m. So we're open for registrations at the moment. Just go onto the website and you'll be able to register. And
on the Talend side, we'll be, in the next couple of weeks, we'll be announcing a series of open source webinars with Talend, where we're showing the freely available platforms from Talend and how you can use them and to do data stewardship, do data quality, master data management, metadata management. So we'll be covering all this as we move on during the year. And I think that's about us for the day. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thanks to Tanya, Mark and Garrett for their ears and support today, and we'll talk to you later in the month. Thank you.
Bye everyone.
Bye.